Greetings and welcome. As you come on in, please type a 9 in the chat if you can see me and hear me, or shoot an emoji. Share some love. I always, it's not always, these days I love seeing your emojis, especially on YouTube. They show up in a very cool way on my side. So, always makes this a little bit more fun and a little bit easier on my end. So many moving parts. Greetings and welcome to SEM Mondays, this live open Q&A show every week, God willing, here on YouTube. My name is Stephen Pollitt. I'm the creator of Source Energy Medicine, and I've been sharing Source Energy Medicine since 2005. And gosh, this is such a joy for me, such a great opportunity to be able to have this some Mondays as a weekly opportunity for you to be able to ask me questions so that I can support you on your journey with Source Energy Medicine, whether you're just starting out or ready to take your next step with Source Energy Medicine, continuing to work towards achieving mastery of Source Energy Medicine. So several weeks ago, when COVID-19 epidemic first came into our news and our awareness, I expanded the format of SEM Mondays from just an open Q&A show to including a group energy healing session, and I'll continue to do that likely for several months to come. Seems like the momentum of COVID-19 is continuing to increase, and certainly a very uncertain time these days, regardless of where you are in the world. And I love that YouTube enables us to all have the opportunity to be able to connect virtually and support each other during this time where there certainly seems to be a serious shortage of peace and calm and certainty. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of a respite from all of that and a chance to help to ensure that you stay well every time, right? Not just during this insanity. So so the first part of our time together today is going to be open Q&A. You can type something into the chat and have some questions that have come in that were posted in the quick start guide, or folks who were not able to join us live who emailed questions ahead of time. I'll do my best to bounce back and forth between answering questions from folks who are alive and questions that I have on my outline here. And if you end up watching this in replay, you can simply scroll down and you can leave your questions in the comment box below the player. And I always do my best to answer as many questions that are left there as possible. So, and if I love that we have people that find Source Energy Medicine literally every day. It still amazes me. It's one of the things that continues to fascinate me since 2005, right? How people find Source Energy Medicine. More often than not, it seems to me there is a lot of divine orchestration that is at play, and certainly Google and searching on YouTube helps to facilitate that divine orchestration, which I'm really, really grateful for. I think back to the beginning of Source Energy Medicine, and on one hand, it seems like yesterday, and on another hand, it seems like a completely different lifetime. So if you are new to Source Energy Medicine, it's never been easier to learn everything that you need to know about Source Energy Medicine, whether you're just interested in the basics or you do indeed want to learn how to master Source Energy Medicine. Whether you're an integrative wellness practitioner or not, you just want to know everything that you possibly can know about Source Energy Medicine to maximize the gifts that are within this technology, to be able to continue to heal yourself, to be able to continue to to be able to continue to heal yourself, support yourself, and as well as share Source Energy Medicine with any family members who would be open to it, as well as friends, neighbors, your community. It's interesting in that, I think often we as humans will put stuff off until we can't put it off anymore. So there are a lot of people who are finding Source Energy Medicine these days that are, kind of been in denial about a lot of things and a lot of health challenges, and now that I think this is a big wake up call for a lot of folks. So if you are indeed new to source energy medicine or relatively new to source energy medicine, it's it's awesome to be you. It really is. It used to be you'd have to travel to New York or Toronto or Northern California or Virginia, where I used to do live workshops, and now not only do we have SEM Mondays, but we have all of our workshops available online. So you get to learn everything that you're most interested in learning. Again, whether you're just interested in the basics or you do indeed want to learn to master source energy medicine, and if you want to learn how to do the energy healing component of source energy medicine, which is what you'll have an opportunity to experience today, you can do that also from the comfort of your own home. So thank you for all of the check-ins and love from folks from near and far, which is always awesome. So I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm going to dive into this question came in, which I think is just so timely. Let me just find it on my outline, and I have a bunch of announcements that I'll get into. But if you are with me live and you have a question, please go ahead and type that into the chat, and I'll do my best to keep an eye in the chat and answer as many questions from folks who are with me live as we can today. So this question came in, and I'm just simply gonna read the whole share because it's perfectly timely. I believe, so this is the person's words. I believe I may have had COVID-19 around the end of March, experiencing kidney pain and shaking. Was not yet considered a symptom, but is now. Thankfully, Source Energy Medicine helped me to clear it quickly. After feeling back to normal, I started to have a sniffle and sneezing for the last 6 weeks. Thought maybe I developed seasonal allergies, which I'd never had before, so I tried the allergy source energy medicine, and it wasn't touching it. I started taking the chemical and residue transformation source energy medicine, both of which were helpful, and went straight to the sinus cavity like a tingle. I stopped sneezing for the most part, but the stuffiness remained. I finally energetically tested, and the source energy medicine lymph transformation it goes on to say, I have to say, is amazingly spot on. I was able to clear the stuffy discomfort. I know your work is about maintaining a high vibe, which my interpretation of what that means is a high calibrated energy level. And then the person goes on to say, but I have to say the transformation source energy medicines are so helpful and specific that I rely heavily on them at this time. So, first of all, bless you for your creativity, for your continuing to, from my perspective, and I talk a lot about this in the Source Energy Medicine Fundamentals workshops. Very often, if you have a challenge and you're taking source energy medicines and you're doing everything that logically makes sense and you don't reach the 100% completion point, that simply means that something is missing. And what's missing sometimes is a source energy medicine, and sometimes it's something else. So having a way of being able to energetically test is huge. Included in the Source Energy Medicine Quick Start Guide, the free Source Energy Medicine course, there is a short tutorial where I demonstrate and teach a form of finger muscle testing that with a little bit of practice, a little bit of consistent practice, you could master, which helps to pinpoint the what's missing, right? So the part of this that really sticks out for me is, on one hand, this person understands my belief about maintaining a high calibrated energy level, but it's pretty clear that this person doesn't buy into that also, and which is totally fine, except we're talking about two very different realities, two very different paradigms, and two very different experiences. So the COVID-19 symptoms, right, are the effect of a particular cause, and that cause is the physical aspect of this person's being calibrated in very close proximity, if not the exact calibration of COVID-19, right? So certainly you can take the specific transformation source energy medicines and have the signs or symptoms of that go. However, what remains is the calibration of the physical aspect of their being for the most part, which is why now there's another challenge, right? And she's brilliant and she's gifted and she's talented and figured out the transformations. But I got to tell you, unless you do something about transforming the physical aspect of your being, you're going to be playing this game forever and without end, right? So the reason why I have not had a cold or a flu or any of the signs or symptoms of any of the chronic things I had before Source Energy Medicine is because I've been diligent at maintaining my energy level. I have zero tolerance for feeling lousy, for feeling like, oops, I'm starting to get sick. I don't even have tolerance for feeling tired or sluggish. So, God bless you for, you know, so I don't, it's a little frustrating for me in that, you had signs and symptoms for 6 weeks that could have been for, 6 hours or less if you focused on more the overall root cause and not just the effects. And all too often, I spent 10 years before Source Energy Medicine just looking at effects, thinking a lot of those were root causes, and they're not root causes, they're simply effects. If none of that makes sense to you, if you go to YouTube and you search for Source Energy Medicine root cause, there's a video where I talk about the difference between root cause and simply an effect that somebody is mislabeling as a root cause. So, and to further clarify, like, we have all of the transformation source energy medicines to use them, right? I'm not saying don't use them. I'm saying use them, but it's not the most important thing. It's not the number one priority, right? The number one priority is to transform our overall energy level, which we do with energy level progression fusion number 1. So ELP fusion number 1, so hopefully, everyone watching this is following the Source Energy Medicine sample protocol or following a protocol that one of our practitioners created, custom for you. And if that's not true, you're really, really, really missing the blessings, the big blessings that are within Source Energy Medicine. So if I did nothing about the calibration of the physical aspect of my being, I would have fewer signs or symptoms of the chronic issues, and I would have been constantly putting out fires, right, using the transformation Source Energy Medicines. So to me, yes, my belief is firm that at a calibration high enough, the physical aspect of our being, there's too much discord between pathogens, between dis-ease, between imbalance, right? So whether it's seasonal allergies or the coronavirus, just create a big enough of a gap, separation. Talk about social distancing. Vibrational distancing is what we really need to be focusing on, not social distancing. With enough vibrational distance, you can go back to hugging and kissing and shaking hands and eating in restaurants. So I'm not saying to, ignore the pathogens, but all too often they become the focus and the bigger picture gets missed. The bigger picture is the calibration of the physical aspect of my being, right? So whether, someone is dealing with a life-threatening condition or something like seasonal allergies, it's still feedback that's telling me that that's an indication of the physical aspect of the being is calibrated low and in exact vibrational proximity to the challenges that they're experiencing. And if that was not true, they couldn't be experiencing those challenges. So, it's an interesting thing to think about. And I'm highly confident that the most important thing for me for the rest of my life, I have no guarantees, right? None of us have any guarantees. This could be my last day breathing. And yet, any challenges that come out of anywhere, I'll know exactly what to do. And the challenges will be first and foremost a reflection that there is a vibrational discord, right? I am not at my ideal energy level. If you're relatively new to source energy medicine and the notion of calibrated energy levels or the calibration of the physical aspect of my being is foreign to you, on YouTube, when we're done here, if you type into the search bar source energy medicine and calibrated energy level, there's some videos on our YouTube channel where I talk about it in pretty good detail, and talk about it in very, very good detail in our fundamentals online workshops. So it is definitely a theory, a philosophy, a way of looking at dis-ease and imbalance, as well as looking at vibrant health and well-being that is very, 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 very different. Before source energy medicine, all I did was chase pathogens, chase dis-ease, chase imbalance and dysfunction. And it is short-term helpful, long-term pretty much a guarantee that it's going to be your part-time job for an ongoing basis. For me, it was like having a second full-time job. So I strongly encourage each of you to have like this zero tolerance for feeling lousy. Before source energy medicine, I felt so poorly all the time that I didn't even know what well-being felt like. It was just, for as long as I could remember as a child, just always being sick, So I certainly had days where I wasn't sick, right? Except even on those days where I wasn't sick, there certainly was no feeling of well-being. And by the time I was in my 20s and early 30s, I had so much experience, especially with, eating what seemed like a good choice, a good meal, and then suffering horribly afterwards. So, it's I had a high level of expectation that I was going to get colds and flus, and I was going to get a lot of food-related stuff on a regular, consistent basis. And certainly that level of expectation doesn't help any, but it's hard to not have that expectation when that's your current reality. So, if you are just joining me and you have questions and you're on with me live, you can go ahead and type something into the chat. If you have any questions about any of what I just discussed, type that into the chat too. My intention with source energy medicine, my intentions for SEM Mondays very specifically, is to keep the conversation simple and basic, and yet, what this person experienced is a very real part of what we're all experiencing these days. So, there's a deeper conversation about this, again, that I get into in our fundamentals workshops. But even just that level of basic understanding, I hope, gives you enough awareness that, if you don't get to 100%, something's missing, and what's missing, a lot of times it's a source energy medicine, but a lot of times it's maybe not what you think it is. And gosh, don't wait 6 weeks, right? Like, again, I strongly encourage you to have this, very, very high or low threshold, depending on how you want to look at it. You could show up here any Monday and ask, what's going on, right? Do you have any suggestions? You can email me. So I'm here to help. I certainly can't answer every single question that that you ever have, and that's why I have so much content now on YouTube, and it's why I have the online workshops. So you do have to meet me halfway. You do have to commit to studying the material. But when I read somebody was dealing with something for 6 weeks, and it could have been 6 hours or maybe 2 days rather than 6 weeks, it's a little unsettling, especially because like the what's missing to me is blaringly obvious, but to this person what's missing is not. So yeah, And a big part of this is like I'm using this, and I'm inspired by what this person did. Right. On one hand, it's beautiful, it's amazing. I'm not making them wrong for their choices. I just want to expand right the toolbox. I want to expand the awareness, because otherwise, yeah, you'll become quite masterful at employing the transformation source energy medicines. And I've known people who have done that. Like I have a couple of people who I've known for a long time in source energy medicine who I honestly could publish like a 500-page book of all of their stories of what would be characterized as miraculous healings, and yet to me it's an indication that something's very wrong. Right, on one hand it's amazing, right? Something happened in the middle of the night, kids woke up vomiting, and in short order source energy medicines were given and child went back to sleep very, very quickly. On one hand it's a miracle, on the other hand, like, that should stop, right? That shouldn't be it shouldn't be 500. There should be one success story, right? Like, I used to get this all the time and now I don't, right? And I haven't. So that's to me the goal. Otherwise we're just like hamsters on the wheel, right? We're pretending to make progress, but we're not. We're just putting out fires and trying to stay alive. So, and again, that's the world I lived in for at least 10 years, if not more, before source energy medicine. So I get it. And I think it's even more difficult for practitioners to wrap their brain around the calibration of the physical aspect of our being. And it's much easier to just focus on, well, let's just transform the imbalance, let's just transform the pathogens, and be okay with what seems to be temporary success. So I'm always looking for the end to the hamster wheel, right? And I have had such a high level. Very often, someone will ask, like, are you just waiting for the other shoe to fall? And it's been 15 years since I've had a cold or a flu, let alone any of the signs or symptoms of any of the things that ran in my family that were, thought to be. I mean, there were some that were thought, a professional would say it was acquired, and there were some that would say were inherited, but still they were chronic, they were ongoing, long term, progressive. I'm looking for and like, why is that, and what can we do so that's no longer part of my experience? So yeah, maybe for the first year I was thinking, well, at some point I'm probably going to get sick again, which might happen, right? However, it's interesting because in these 15 years I've almost gotten sick like dozens of times, usually from ignoring, right, the little taps on the shoulder, and allowing stress or trauma or long airplane flights to negatively affect my overall energy level, and I chose to momentarily ignore it until it got my attention. So that I think is pretty cool, because that too is a reflection of what my life experience is like when I'm at my ideal energy level, and also what my life experience is like when I do not maintain that, right, when my energy level slips, and then what happens when I get back to my ideal energy level, right? And it's happened enough, and I've seen it thousands and thousands of times over the years, that I'm highly, highly, highly confident that maintaining a calibration of the physical aspect of our being at a high energy level, my ideal energy level primarily, but not just the physical, right? I want the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, financial, relationships, creativity. I want it all to calibrate at my ideal energy level, right? Then I believe we are back to the design that's the source of all creation originally intended for us. So I don't see any questions in the chat. So I'm going to have a quick sip of water here, and then we'll segue into I think let's just segue into the group energy healing session. It's 11:35 already. So, if you are not familiar There's an aspect of source energy medicine that is an energy healing modality. It's known as the non-material aspect of source energy medicine. I know it's an odd name, but it's called the non-material aspect because there's no material substance, right? Completely non-material, meaning it's just energy. If you ask a physicist to explain the physical world, they would basically say when you get to subatomic particles, there is no matter as such. It's simply particles or waves of light and information that are clustered, structured, arranged, and they vibrate differently in different things. So the energy healing component of source energy medicine is that, right? It is simply, it's the same technology that we use in our charging labels, except there are no charging labels, there's no water, and there's no bottles. It is the fastest, the most direct, the most efficient way to experience source energy medicine. And I have been doing this really very specifically for everything that we've just been talking about here today, right? The primary goal for me, right, my primary intention is to help to transform the calibration of the physical aspect of your being from wherever it currently is calibrated to your ideal energy level. Because for all of the reasons that we've just been talking about, right? So now on your end, you can have a completely different intention, right? You may be there already, and yet you have a particular goal or a challenge that you'd like to work on. So you can hold an intention. Folks often like to communicate their healing requests to me in some way by email or posting it in the Quick Start Guide, or you could type something into the chat. If you do type a healing request into the chat, I just ask you to be aware, right? YouTube warns you, so welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. And so it basically means it's a public forum, right? So the interesting thing is I don't have to know your healing request in order for you to receive the blessing. However, there are a lot of people, I believe that if there is clear communication, if you do make a request, it increases the likelihood of you believing, right? It increases your expectation. It increases it sets the table for the blessing to be received, if you will. So if you have not, so if you don't know about the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, you can go to Google or search on YouTube for, just type in source energy medicine, non-material aspect, N-O-N, material, like material substance aspect, and check that out when we're done here. So the non-material aspect is phenomenally fast. Like this group session will probably be 3, 4, 5 minutes. I think it's really important for you to know that this experience is equally effective whether you're on with me live or you watch this in replay. And based on feedback, there definitely is advantage to re-experiencing the same session numerous times. A lot of folks have been watching this once or twice, watching the replays to our SEM Mondays live, just fast forwarding to the energy healing part and experiencing it once or twice or 3 times a day, just to help to ensure that they have, not just, right, to help to ensure that they achieve, maintain a high calibrated energy level. So on your end, you are still healing yourself. And you actually have the hard part in that the best thing that you could do is nothing. So if you are a facilitator, if you are a practitioner, simply allow. I'm for everyone, whether you're a practitioner or not, simply allow. But practitioners like to get in there and help out. And in this instance, the best way that you can help yourself really and help me is to simply allow, simply receive a minimum of distractions. So if you are in a safe, comfortable place where it is safe and appropriate, closing your eyes certainly seems to help the receptivity. It's not essential. And if you're not in a place that's safe and comfortable to close your eyes, please don't. Please use common sense and then watch this when you have can create a little bit of sacred space and actually allow this work to be received. So I love a teaching from A Course in Miracles that basically states there is no order of difficulty when it comes to miracles. And miracles are our birthright. And if I'm not receiving miracles today, that means that I'm doing something to block the miracle. It doesn't mean that I'm not worthy, that I'm not deserving, that I didn't petition God in the right way. It simply means that in some way I am blocking the miracle that is being showered upon me. So, and that's very much the way I see source energy medicine, is like, what is the resistance, right? What is the block that is preventing the miracle from being received, from being experienced? So, of course, in Miracles does teach miracles are our birthright. However, purification of the mind is necessary first. And I interpret that as purification of, we have really three aspects of mind: subconscious mind, conscious mind, and unconscious mind. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you've likely already heard me say that healing in each of those three aspects is it's kind of, not kind of, if you're wise, right? Which I have this way of seeing you as just your brilliance, right? Your genius, your unique genius. So I know you're wise. So at some point, healing in each of those three areas is it's required, right? And the only question is what order in which to do that. And that's a lot of what we talk about in the fundamentals workshops. But, for me, the first and foremost, transforming the subconscious mind and doing work in the subconscious is essential, because otherwise trying to do work in the conscious and unconscious is just futile. There too, on our YouTube channel, there's some videos where I talk about that, and in the fundamentals workshops go into that in really, really, really good detail. So, and honestly, to just continue to help to further your understanding of transforming our energy level, transforming the subconscious mind is the key to me achieving my ideal energy level. It's the key to you achieving your the transformation from wherever you're currently calibrated to your ideal energy level. So that is indeed a big part of the focus here today. And one other teaching from A Course in Miracles that I can't leave out because it's just so inspiring for me, and it loosely stated goes something like this. Those among us, meaning humans on this planet, historically, right, going back since as long as we've had humans on this planet, those among us who have achieved the greatest have achieved a fraction of what is possible for each of us. So, a lot of people think when I tell my story about the way my life was before source energy medicine and after, and not having had a cold or a flu or any of the signs or symptoms since 2005, a lot of people think, well, there's, I'm just an outlier, I'm unique, there's something different about me, and it's so not true. And if you really think about it, compared to that teaching, like, sure, my experience is amazing. It still amazes me. I still, literally give thanks every day for it. It's still somewhat hard to believe it's the same body, right? It's like shocking to me in a lot of ways. And yet what I achieved is a fraction of what's possible for you. So, and there are people in our community who have had healings that like make mine seem almost like pale or boring by comparison, which is kind of funny to compare transformations, compare healing experiences. And yet, it's an interesting exploration. So if there's anyone on live with me who has any questions about the energy work, I'm just going to pause, have a quick sip of water, and just finish the logistics, and then we'll get started here. Yeah, so if you're with me live and you have a question about what we're about to get into, type it in the chat box quickly, please. And if you're watching this in replay and you have a question, scroll down and leave it in the comment box. So I'm going to invite you to take a nice deep breath. And as we prepare for this energy healing session, I encourage you to think of one goal or one challenge, one thing that you would like to work on during this session. And the reason why I say one thing is, if you have, say, 10 on your list and you ask for all 10, it's hard to say what's working, what's not working, what's missing. And So choose one, but keep in mind, you can watch this again later today. You could watch this again in an hour and choose a completely different goal or challenge. So think of that one thing, and again, whether you type something in the chat or you ever email it to me or you just hold it in your heart, hold it in your awareness, that's all you need to do. Pardon me. So think of that, and I also encourage you to think of those teachings that I shared with you from Course in Miracles. And I'm going to invite you to take another nice deep breath. As I do this work, there'll be chanting in the background, and I'm going to switch my camera off here. And there'll be just a slide up on the screen so that you know that there is a group energy healing session in progress. And the chanting in the background has nothing to do with the work itself. It's simply to so that you know that we're still broadcasting, that there's still something going on here. And continue to breathe comfortably. Continue to relax. Continue to allow. Continue to receive. And as much as possible, try and see yourself the way the source of all creation sees you, which I believe is innocent, whole, perfect, and complete. And as much as possible, try and see the goal or challenge that you chose to work on as already being received. See it from the end, if you will. Continue to breathe comfortably. Continue to allow. Continue to receive. I invite you to take a nice deep breath. Continue to allow. Continue to receive. Continue to see yourself the way the source of all creation sees you, as whole and perfect and complete. And if your eyes are closed, slowly blink your eyes open and come on back to here and now in this time-space reality on SEM Mondays live on YouTube with me. I apologize, I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but there clearly was no chanting during that session. It's a good thing that chanting has nothing to do with the energy healing work. But I mention it because it confuses some people. They think that it's part of it. So, and it is not. So whether you're watching this with me here live today or watching this in replay, I'd love to see some comments letting me know what your experience was like. First time, 10th time, I'm always intrigued by seeing how this work is received, seeing how it lands for you, seeing how it, and then of course seeing how it unfolds for you. You know, it's important for you to know that even though this was a ridiculously short amount of linear time, the work will continue to unfold for you. It'll continue to manifest for you. It'll continue to be uploaded, downloaded, and installed is the way I see it into every aspect of your being. So it's I think it's important to keep in mind that there is no order of difficulty when it comes to miracles, when it comes to healing, when it comes to transformation. A lot of times we tend to prioritize our challenges. I know I did before Source Energy Medicine as, small and big, right? The things that were life-threatening or career-threatening or, lifestyle-threatening in some ways tend to seem like a bigger deal. And yet energetically, it's all the same, right? I love that Course in Miracles teaches us that, right? So I do have some announcements that I want to get to. We continue to receive a whole bunch of questions about the special masterclass that we produced that was really specifically to help to support everyone during this coronavirus pandemic. But it really has to do with having an emergency preparedness kit, having an emergency preparedness plan for anything that is an acute condition. So even though COVID-19 is likely going to be part of our awareness, a concern for many months to come, what you'll learn in this master class will help you. It'll serve you. It'll really serve you beautifully for the rest of your life, because acute conditions are colds, flus, headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, migraines, often things like that. Acute conditions are characterized as rapid and sudden onset. So because so many people had so many questions about what's in the master class, what does it cover, what doesn't it cover, I created a video in which I take you on an insider's tour of the master class, so you get to see exactly what is in it before you register. We do indeed have a limited amount of scholarship funds available, and I'm not going to do a formal scholarship fundraising campaign during all of this. It doesn't really feel right to me. However, we have a scholarship fund contribution page on our main website, source-energy-medicine.com, and you can make a contribution any day, not just when we're doing a fundraising campaign. I'm committed to enabling everyone who has sincere interest in learning about Source Energy Medicine, whether it's, taking the emergency preparedness class or one of our fundamentals classes. I want everyone to be able to participate, and that's why I created the scholarship fund. So, I never want to let temporary lack of financial well-being get in the way of you experiencing the tools, the technology, the resources, the really everything that you will learn inside of our workshops. So We have deferred payment for some folks for 30 or 60 days, which has helped. There are a lot of people who, are temporarily out of work. And we do have the scholarship fund. So, and if you have any questions about any of that, just email us or, leave a comment or a question below the player. Inside the Quick Start Guide, gosh, if you don't know about the Source Energy Medicine Quick Start Guide, it's a free course in Source Energy Medicine, and it contains everything that's essential to your journey. I think there's 16 different modules now that are part of it. Almost everything has a video that explains what there is in there, but that's where you'll access our charging label technology and how to take Source Energy Medicine video. The complete book, Heal Thyself, the latest, most current edition, is available inside the Quick Start Guide as an electronic download. So, and there are also lots of questions that continue to come in about the fundamentals workshops. And here too is another way to be able to support you during this crisis. I'm going to continue to offer a 7-day free pass to our fundamentals workshops. There are a lot of folks who are interested and yet very hesitant to invest money these days without knowing what they're getting into. And even though I offer a complete 60-day money-back guarantee on all of our workshops, I think it's cool to have the 7-day free pass, and then you get to binge watch your way through some of it at least. And we actually did have one fellow last week who went through both fundamentals level 1 and level 2 workshops within the 7 days, which I was most impressed by. And he ended up registering for the non-material workshop, so it was pretty sweet. Shocking for me. It was awesome to see that. So I think that's all of the announcements, all of the questions that I have. Let me just check the chat real quick, see if there are any questions, and see what you folks have to say. Celine says, thank you and many blessings. Thank you, Celine. Fifth Wheel Red says, such a lovely healing, lovely waves of energy washing over us. Thank you. That's awesome feedback. I love your clarity. The non-material aspect of Source Energy Medicine, to me, I often describe as even when I'm facilitating it, it feels like I get wrapped in this warm blanket of unconditional love. And it feels good even in the on the hottest days, right? But it really does have that sense, that feeling, like it's very visceral to me, right? So Pam and Bill say it was calming and beautiful with some awesome emojis, hearts and smileys. Thank you, Pam and Bill. I appreciate that. And they also say thank you so much. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. Jennifer says, hi, Stephen. Thanks for reading my email. I just want to let you know I have been taking the ELP Fusion Source Energy Medicine the entire time, and I do believe in them, but still my sinuses weren't clearing. So this is great. So amazing question, Jennifer. So that then leads me to, why was it not enough for you to be able to achieve and sustain your ideal energy level, right? That's the answer. So drinking 8 ounces of ELP Fusion number 1 sometimes is not enough. And if you think about the things that threaten our ideal energy level the most, are stress, fear, trauma, and if you really think about it, we all are living under unprecedented levels of fear and stress, and we're experiencing trauma. Might be subtle trauma, but it's also sustained, right? We've been 2 months, at least here in the United States, 2 months into this. If you're not being negatively affected by this, you're not paying attention, right? And even if you're not paying attention, you're still being negatively affected by it. So you could ignore it, you could deny it. So to me, then the game becomes, well, what else is missing? That 8 ounces of ELP Fusion number 1 is not enough. So, that to me is phenomenal feedback, right? So that means that there's more fear, there's more stress, there's more trauma, there's more something, right? There's more something that is having a stronger negative effect than what ELP Fusion number 1 is trying to accomplish. So I hope that makes sense, and we can certainly continue this conversation. I have to scram-skedaddle or I'm going to be super late for my next appointment. As always, I am super grateful to have this opportunity to connect with you. I'm kind of laughing at myself because SEM Mondays was 11 minutes and we're coming up on an hour. So between now and next Monday, check back in and rewatch at least the energy healing part of this replay to help to support you, right? I'm not just talking about Jennifer here. Help to support everyone to maintain your ideal energy level, right? So between now and then, continue to leave your questions either on YouTube if it's related to a video or inside the Quick Start Guide. If you are new and you don't know about the Quick Start Guide, there'll be a link to register for the Quick Start Guide in the notes. All you have to do is scroll down and click, I believe it says read more in the description to this video on YouTube, and you'll see links to both the Quick Start Guide, links to the 7-day free trial, to the fundamentals workshops, and anything else that you're looking for that you can't find, just holler. We have live chat available on most of our pages on our websites. So, as always, I wish you continued blessings on your journey with Source Energy Medicine. Bye for now.